Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to EU5. Today we are going to be doing something slightly different. That is, I'm doing a voiceover because when I was recording this video, I was half sick and you didn't want to hear me talking. So without further ado, let's jump right on in. We're going to be playing as Novgorod today. Uh, we start as probably the strongest independent Russian principality, though we do start as a republic, uh, relatively unurbanized. Obviously, we're defined by being a very flat topography, with half of our country as useless Arctic. Everything that's like light blue there is pretty well undevable, whereas everything that's continental is where all the good pops are going to grow. Um, it kind of gets compounded more with the vegetation, like the forest there, as opposed to just the woods. So again, everything basically at where our capital Novgorod is and south is where we want to be. Obviously, you can see with the pop distribution map near Muscovy, it's a bit better to be. Uh, we're going to open up by rivaling Lithuania. Now, one of the goals that we had today was to form Russia. We won't quite get there in this episode just because EU5 has some of its funky little things, but it's quite a large form goal needing over 500 provinces. Uh, for our opening privileges, we start with both the Merchant Republic, which makes foreign building cheaper, and an extremely powerful noble estate with almost 50% uh, gov control, with some really negative reforms like banal lordship and noble only as leaders. So the entire early game is defined by a struggle against the nobility. We do give over some bonuses to the clergy, mostly centralized or great works of faith. The merchants as well, we give some of the traditional bonuses to. I believe trade center sponsorship and road building rights. Um, and as for the peasants, we're just going to give them free mobility. The common people, as getting that pop to move around is very important. Uh, the tribes will get nothing, as always, because they are a dead end. Our economy opening up is okay. We have 25 tax base. We're basically going to not tax the peasants and the clergy just to get high satisfaction and high research speed. Try and tax the life out of the merchants and the nobles to kickstart our early game economy. Um, as you can see with our control map here, essentially that little lake just south of Novgorod is where all of our control radiates out from, and it really helps us multiply how far we can push it. So we're going to be focusing on building up that kind of core center, as well as deving up and encouraging people to be in the more uh, Novgorod center instead of to the south of near Muscovy. We also have our vassal of Orshak and Pskov to start off with. We're just going to make sure that we get nice high relations with them so that we can integrate them in the future. Also, all of the Russian princes next to us are in the Golden Horde's Tartar yoke, which is slightly annoying. Just 6 years in, and you can see, or 3 years in, sorry, and you can see that the economy is really starting to get going. Our tax base has increased by over 10 ducats. Um, it's just a matter of trying to build up enough stability in the early game to be able to rip privileges away from the nobles, as every privilege is going to cost about 100 stat. In building up the RGOs around us, we have decent RGOs. We have a lot of RGOs because we're a Russian nation, very large, um, but mostly it's just hard to get enough pops into them, or in an area where you have control. So we're focusing again on some iron. The few wheat RDOs we have, we really have to appreciate, as well as I believe the capital has a livestock. Uh, I did find though that if you watch, our tax base will fluctuate wildly at some points um, throughout the game, just because I don't know if it's an issue with the current patch or if it's just a general vibe, uh, was something I was doing wrong with Novgorod. And we also will be starting off colonizing the Arctic North. There's no real value in this land up here. I think it really will only bloat the cost of uh, of the state. But if you leave it for too long, eventually France or some other nation will try and get up there and claim it. So it's important to paint the map up there, stake our flag, because what are you doing as a Russian nation if not getting inordinately large? Eventually, we'll also get up to the Kola Peninsula, but it's a little less pressing. Oh, I also spot that Estonia is independent or in their revolt event against Denmark, which means that I can sneak on in there and clean it up. I immediately get a Parliament CB and use that to justify a war goal and essentially immediately go in and clean up. And they have already been wiped by the Teutons. In fact, the Teutons are actively sieging down Kaliningrad Tallinn as we're doing this. So we just managed to steal Estonia out from under them. We do re-release it as a historical subject just because I don't, because we're a merchant republic, it takes so long to integrate things. So that does mean that they are their own religion, but we'll deal with that in time. The Black Death kicks off, starting in the Golden Horde. It ends up taking about 140,000 of our pops, bringing us down to 430k. As well, our colonies up north are starting to finish off. Uh, there's no value up here, right? It's just map painting in its purest form. Taking a quick look at the ports, you can see obviously Neva gives us some pretty good ports, and technically all the way up in the very north at Kola, you get some decent ports, but they're nothing incredible. Um, uh, we also, this is when I really started to put down the idea of building up the circle around the Novgorod Lake. Oh, and with my next Parliament CB, I took a claim out on the Livonian Order as it was getting burned down by Lithuania. So I figured it was a pretty free war, and there was no one to oppose me. I bulldozed all the way south to the point where I sieged down Danzig. So I took Danzig, the city, as a vassal, as well as I liberated the southern half of Estonia and created a new subject in Rothalia. Uh, that's just just painting for the sake of it. Um, this would also start my struggle with trying to maintain enough surplus in the market. I found it incredibly difficult as Novgorod to keep construction prices low. I don't know if that's changed recently, but it was just very difficult to flood with enough masonry and lumber, which should not be an issue as Novgorod. On top of that, it's also when I found my fascination with settlements because we have so much open and empty land. I really have the opportunity to throw down a lot of these and pump my population to the moon because 1% pop growth over 100 years does that up, even if eventually they do stop producing new people. So whenever I have a surplus of money, I'm probably throwing down settlements just because they're good to have. And pops create demands, and the entire economy of this game is driven off of demand. That you can see beautiful little Danzig right there. Our crown jewel of the Baltic. As well, you can see that we're starting to build up around what I want to call St. Petersburg, but in the kind of very northwestern tip of Russia, trying to create a population hub along the coast so we can eventually get a navy to project some control into the Baltic. As always, desperate for some of those warm water ports. We also, Muscovy went in and left Blue Zero as a one state minor, so we had the opportunity to go in and clean up Blue Zero as well as their ally Tver. Um, it was it was an open and shut war. I mean, the wars in this game aren't famously challenging. Uh, Tver, we just had to wait around for a bit to siege them out. But we eventually full annexed them, took control of their vassal, and that left Blue Zero to be full annexed as well. The power of Blue Zero is that we could re-release them as a historical vassal and use their claims on Muscovy in the future. Um, this is just, yeah, we kind of started to make a bit of a vassal mess, although we did keep the city of Tver to drop a local governor to help push control in our more southern lands. Uh, this was as I was realizing the Merchant Republic government reform wasn't exactly doing much for me. I wasn't going out of my way to build a bunch of trade. Um, ah, and going into Muscovy now, we have allies in both Smolensk and Kiev, so we can basically roll over Muscovy, and we go in using attack threatening arrival. But the goal is just to clean up Blue Zero's uh, previous lands, and Muscovy is a bit more of a fight, but with Kiev and Smolensk, we outnumber them like 2-1. So I let the AI take on the brunt. I do a little bit of cleanup. Yeah, you can see we have 50,000 troops to their 24,000. And every battle I mean, it's EU5 AI, right? They're not doing too much, which is a bit of a shame. But yeah, we're just running around, kind of sieging things down, waiting for the Muscovite AI to throw in the towel. It does look bad because we technically haven't painted the war goal yet, but it's it's not that deep. Like they have 7,000 troops left, we have 28,000 troops left. There's not much they can do, and I believe this is the penultimate battle of the war. We catch them, and then yeah, sure, equal losses, but we can afford those losses a lot more. And then it's just a matter of yeah, taking all of Blue Zero's land and 3 states to the north, as well as I believe war reps, and that means that we can re-release a couple of vassals back out to basically help control that. Um, and you can see here that we finally are starting to build up new towns. Almost 70 years into the game, a little late on the beginning of urbanization, but we finally just have the money for it. Uh, so we're going to start to build up that urban core around the lake as well. We're starting to challenge the nobility. You can see we go all the way down to -10. That's not the most extreme. The first time I fought the nobility, they went all the way down to -50. Didn't cause a major revolt. And this is also fun where I start to realize that my income is swinging wildly because I am selling or losing 21 value between Stockholm and Riga selling saffron. Keep an eye on saffron because it will come around later. Um, you can see though our control, the map is getting just ever better. So we now have almost all of the tiles around the lake turned into towns. Uh, we're we're printing significantly more than we were. You hope we would be. We're almost 100 years into the game now as we go in for our second war against the Muscovites. And this is much more of a real war where we're going to take more valuable lands. Um, Again, calling in Kiev and Smolensk. The Muscovites, their back is already broken. They can't put up that much of a fight, and we roll over them quite accordingly. I do wish the combat it doesn't feel great. I don't know how to say it. I can't put my finger on it. It just doesn't feel uh, fantastic. But once Muscovy is broken proper, uh, again, it's just a matter of sieging them out, right? We take everything but 3 tiles, as if we were to full annex Muscovy, their vassals would transfer over to us. So the trick with this is truce breaking. We're going to take everything from Muscovy and then immediately get a new diplomat. Or sorry, we're going to take everything from Muscovy, immediately release some of it as vassals, as you can see, uh, and then we should be getting ready to go in. Yes, we go in with no CB, truce break, truly the best combination that you can do, and this is also a very open and shut war. There's not much they can do about it. Uh, I mean, it's a 3 province Muscovy that we just took everything from. Now, that does hand over all of their vassals to us, except for Vladimir and Nizhny Novgorod, I believe, because they were in a PU. They were saved, which is fine. Slightly annoying, but fine. But that's some real profit after what we had just experienced. So we are now the major Russian polity in less than 100 years. We then immediately get our Parliament CB and go in and clean up Perm. And Perm is entirely Arctic and has nothing going for it. So they roll over really fast. I think I didn't even have to get up there. I just let the AI siege it down. And we split that into two vassals just because it's too big. And I believe by annexing Perm, we actually got the full Asian maps unlocked. So you can see in China we have the Great Chen, and there's been a bit of a Chinese explosion, like on the Shandong Peninsula. Nothing too crazy going on in Southeast Asia. The Grand Galaxy of Tibet, the Timrid Horde did a whole lot of nothing. Oh, actually, wait, what's that? Koktumur, which I think is the Timur tag in China. So something very weird happened there, but I don't know what. Uh, that's odd. I thought that was just for if Timurid made it all the way over. And yeah, Korea is doing what Korea does best in printing money. Oh, and of course, the Northern Yuan hold on in Beijing and Mongolia. Yeah, we tag back over, and I'm looking now at trying to win the culture war against Muscovite. We do fully accept Muscovite, but Novgorod only has 100 cultural influence, whereas Muscovite has 210. So integrating all of the Muscovite land is very difficult, and it's just integrating our Muscovite vassals is very expensive. And it just we try to build up universities, but again, I was having a really hard time this game building up the massive cost reductions to build universities. So to do that, we invade the Golden Horde, uh, mainly to steal some money. We steal a tile, 300 ducats, war reps, and I believe we steal one of their vassals. Oh, and also one of the more interesting laws this game. It's for centralization for bureaucratic offices, we get plus 5% proximity speed as a Russian thing or a Novgorod thing. Uh, but yeah, it's odd. That puts our money all the way up. Yeah, our money is doing really weird things. Like we were just losing ducats and now we're up 50, and then only up 30. The entire time our money was just swinging. I think our tax base just went up by like an entire 40 and then swung back down. It's so weird. And yes, this is me following one of our trade routes, where apparently we are selling saffron all the way to China, or sorry, Kyoto. And I don't know how we're doing this because obviously that's outside of trade range, right? But we are selling all the way from that random Russian province to Kyoto. EU5 is a perfect game without any flaws. And that's why this took 3 days to record for me to make 20 minutes of video. Um, but yeah, and that saffron trade randomly will make us lose 30 ducats, so my entire surplus goes away. And sometimes when we make money, we go up by 45 ducats. It swings so wildly that it was frustrating because I really couldn't plan my economy, and it was I can't say it was game ruining, but it was just making it so unenjoyable to experience that I had to eventually set it down. Because if the economy of EU5 isn't functioning, then the game isn't functioning. Uh, and you can see most of my trades are in fact going to Eastern Asia, which I don't know how I'm getting trades all the way there because you can see that it's clearly not in my trade range. So just to kind of close it here, looking at the culture map of the area, you see Novgorodian is doing well enough. We didn't do any major culture conversion. Uh, our control is by far one of the more interesting things where we actually have decent control, not in the north, but in the actual areas that matter. Um, Almost everything is a proper core, besides, again, the far north and the colonies. Uh, Urbanization, we did actually start to urbanize the center. It's just there's no economy because it swings so wildly unless I've done something wrong. And development is acceptable, obviously not super high. But yeah. So unfortunately, that's all I have for you today. The game really didn't want to play nice, so I was limited for how much effort I was able to put in. I know that this isn't what you normally come here for, uh, but I really want to have something put out, and I've been meaning to play Novgorod for a long time. As such, there will be some more EU5 content in the future, but it might be after patch 1.3 comes out, as patch 1.2 just isn't doing it for me. Uh, at the rate with how patch 1.3 looks, maybe might take a bit longer. In the meantime, we have EU4 as well as various other Paradox games, and I'm going to be playing around with a couple other things too, just to see. But don't worry, I don't not love EU5, but I think it just needs a bit more time in the oven. Anyway, thank you for this very different than normal video. Thank you for sitting and listening to what I have to say. I hope that you all have yourselves a fantastic day. I'm going to go back to drinking honey lemon tea now. So please, if you're here to the end, click the like, comment, subscribe, do all the YouTube pleasantries. And this is Brown Dog 2 signing out.